looking for Jesus to return when Jesus says himself, when I leave, you shall see me no more. Meaning he not coming back. So I don't understand why we sitting here waiting on him to come back and he not coming back. So I'm gonna put it like this, man. I'm gonna break it down. Jesus was 2,000 years too early. And he realized that at first he thought he was the one to bring in the kingdom. He thought he was the one to bring in the kingdom. He started talking about, I'm the way, I'm the light, and all this stuff. He was confident. He was going hard. I'm talking about, yeah, he was killing it. And he was getting it in, preaching, teaching, resurrecting, all that. So then performing all these miracles, right? But it was one miracle that he did that made him realize that he was too early. I think it was Paul that wrote about him, in the Bible. He called him a man born out of due season, meaning he was before his time. At first, Jesus believes he was going to usher in the kingdom. But then he realizes that he's too early. He's not the one. So then you start hearing him talking about one coming after him, right? Y'all got to pay attention to this. And I'm going to show y'all the one that coming after him. So he was casting these demons out of somebody, right? The demons jumped out. They were mad. They was angry. And first thing they said when they jumped out, why are you attacking us before it's time? What does that mean, before it's time? When Jesus is talking about it's the time of the kingdom and all this, but they jump out talking about why are you attacking us before it's time? That's when Jesus realized he was 2,000 years too early. He was 2,000 years too soon. So he starts then changing his ministry. He starts teaching about one coming after him who's gonna bring in the kingdom. But it was then that he realized he was too soon to be the one. This is why everybody thought in the year 2000, right? 2,000 years after Jesus died, that the world was going to end because he was 2,000 years too soon, which is why people believe he's coming back. But he says, when I leave, you shall see me no more. Hold on, let me find it for y'all so y'all don't think I'm lying. John 14:19, King James Version. He said, when he leave, they shall see him no more. But then he said, but ye see me. That's why he said the one that comes after me, he's going to come in my name. He's going to do the works that I did. But that's what he means, that, they shall see him no more, but they shall see him. Because he thought he was that one, but he's not that one. He was too early. But the one that's coming after him is going to be doing the works that he did, but even greater works. And he's going to be the one that's going to bring in the kingdom, right? So let me support my point. In the book of Malachi, chapter 4, watch this. And we supposed to be looking for Jesus, right? But the Bible says, Malachi, chapter 4, verse 5. Let me see, I like to read the King James Version. That's what I'm used to. It says, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Didn't say Jesus, it said Elijah, right? I'm going to make this point. It says Elijah before the great and dreadful day of the Lord. It didn't say Jesus. And the great and dreadful day of the Lord is that day of judgment. We supposed to be looking for Jesus, but he says he's sending Elijah, not Jesus. So, and I'm going to keep stressing that point. This takes me back to, I want to talk about the Father, the one that sent him, and the one that he calls on when he in his times of trouble. I'm just going to make the connection. So Jesus was a disciple of John the Baptist. When he baptized him, he became his disciple. He learned under him, he taught him, he was taught by John the Baptist. His teachings, his knowledge, what he was giving was coming from John the Baptist. This is his teacher, right? In a sense, you could say his spiritual father. We just gonna keep it 100. When you hear Jesus talk about him, what he say? Let me pull it up. I'm giving y'all scriptures and everything. What he say? There's no man born of a woman that is greater than John the Baptist. Matthew 11:11. This Jesus talking. Truly I tell you, among those born of women, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Even though it says, yet whoever is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. But he's telling you right here, man, truly I tell you, among those born of women, there has not risen anyone greater than John the Baptist. This is the part that confuses people when John the Baptist was asked by the Pharisees, was he Elijah? He said no. But let's see who his student says he is. Let's see what the Bible say. Check this out. Jesus said John the Baptist is Elijah who was to come, fulfilling Old Testament prophecy. Malachi 4:5, right? Matthew chapter 11, verse 14. Jesus speaking. And if you are willing to accept it, he is the Elijah who was to come. This is what Jesus saying about John the Baptist. Malachi chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, before the great and dreadful day of the Lord, I will send my prophet Elijah. Right? So Jesus, after we're going to jump back to when he realized he was 2,000 years too soon, he starts talking about somebody coming after him, right? He tells them, he says, I'm going to start with the transfiguration. So when Jesus goes up to the mountain, right, and he has this meeting with Elijah and Moses, he comes down, his face glowing. He tells them, tell no man what you have seen, right? So they say, so why then does the preachers of the law say that Elijah must come first? And Jesus said, I tell you the truth, Elijah will come. The transfiguration. After 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elijah. Oh, Moses and Elijah was talking with him, right? Then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elijah, right? While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him, right? And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were afraid, and were sore afraid. And Jesus came and touched them and said, Arise and be not afraid, right? And when they had lifted their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. And as they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. Right? First of all, Jesus ain't dead. Who's dead? Or they say they thought that was dead. John the Baptist, right? He got his head cut off. See, people think they talking about Jesus, but he realized he was the wrong one. So then he say, tell the vision to no man, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. And his disciples asked him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elijah must come first? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Elijah truly shall first come, and restore all things. But I say unto you that Elijah is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist. So we getting somewhere, right? John the Baptist. This is Jesus talking about Elijah, and he's saying that Elijah came, but nobody recognized him, right? But he's saying Elijah is gonna come. Let me see where I want to go next with this. Let's talk about Jesus. He said, John 16:7. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is expedient for you that I go away. For if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you. But he said, but if I depart, I will send him unto you. He's telling y'all somebody's coming after him. Somebody's coming after him. The Comforter, he calls him. So then let's go back. When I say Elijah or John the Baptist was Jesus' teacher, that was his spiritual teacher, his spiritual father. So by the flesh, he was the son of David, but by the spirit, he was the son of God, right? Elijah is that one. Okay, so let's go where it says, when Jesus was hanging on the cross. This the critical point. This the critical point. When Jesus was hanging on the cross, right? He says, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. They translated to say, some people translated to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? But others translated for what he was really saying. Elijah, Elijah, why hast thou forsaken me? right? Now watch this. Matthew chapter 27, verse 47. Mark chapter 15, verse 35. It don't even matter. We're going to go to Mark 15. Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, this 34. And so it says, and this one it says, my God, okay, but watch what they say. Watch what they say. And some of them, this is after he said that, it says, the next verse says, and some of them stood by when they heard it, said, behold, he called it Elijah. Huh? They say it translates to my God, when he says Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, but you read down a little further, it says, and some of them stood by when they heard it, said, behold, he calls Elijah. And one ran and filled a sponge full of vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink, saying, let alone, let us see whether Elijah will come to take him down. Let us see if Elijah's going to come take him down. Yeah, they translated it. They tried to say, oh, it translates into my God, my God. No, the bystanders said what it meant. He said Eli, Eli. That's Elijah. That's short for Elijah. I got a little brother named Elijah. We call him Eli. It's my God brother. We call him Eli. You understand what I'm saying? That man said Eli, Eli. He was calling Elijah. And they said, they laughing at him. Look, he's calling Elijah. Let's see if Elijah gonna come take him down. Why was he calling for Elijah? On the cross. He's supposed to be calling for God. He was calling for his father, his spiritual father, Elijah. He was calling for Elijah, man. Anyways, that's it for this here episode of Let's Keep It Real, Keep It 100. I just wanted to put that out there, man. But stop looking for Jesus to return. Look for a man that comes to do the works that Jesus did. That man, he told you who he was. He said, look for Elijah. He didn't say look for him to return. He said look for Elijah. He said it's expedient for him that he goes, for if he don't, then the comforter cannot come. He's talking about Elijah. I just wanted to let y'all know, man. Look for Elijah.